You know, Elvis Presley, the king, had a life that was anything but smooth sailing, especially in his last years. First off, he had serious health problems that weren't just about aging, they were often linked to his lifestyle choices. One of the big things was his weight gain, which was so dramatic that it led to a host of other health issues. It's not just that he was overweight, his diet was full of fried foods, sugary treats, and basically everything doctors tell you to stay away from. His addiction to prescription medications was another thing that was seriously affecting his health. If you can believe it, Elvis was regularly taking a cocktail of different drugs, including sedatives, opiates, and uppers. These medications didn't just mess with his physical health, they also had a major impact on his emotional and mental well-being. His stage performances started to suffer, and those who had been fans for years began to notice that he was not the Elvis they once knew. The vigor and energy that he was famous for seemed to have disappeared, and he often appeared drowsy or even disoriented on stage. And because of this, his career took a nosedive. He wasn't selling out venues or churning out hits like before. While he was once an artist who broke records and redefined the music industry, in his last years, he had trouble maintaining that level of success. And let's not forget the effect all of this had on his personal relationships. His marriage to Priscilla Presley ended in divorce, and many say his deteriorating health and addiction issues were partly to blame. In fact, Priscilla has spoken out about how Elvis's drug problems created a wedge between them. His family was worried sick about him, and even his closest friends and managers couldn't steer him in the right direction. But it wasn't like he didn't try to get better. He did check into hospitals, looking to get a handle on his health problems. The trouble was, each time he got a bit better, he'd go back to his old habits, making it a cycle that was hard to break. The media didn't help either. They were all over him, documenting his decline, and that must have put him under tremendous stress. The public's perception of him changed. He went from being a revered icon to becoming the subject of jokes and tabloid headlines. You could argue that the fame that once lifted him was now acting like a heavy burden, making it even more difficult for him to cope. And here's the sad part, the more he struggled, the more isolated he became. Elvis was no longer the social butterfly who was the life of the party. Instead, he started to spend more time alone, often holed up in his Graceland mansion. Those who loved him tried to help, but it's hard to help someone who is battling so many demons, both physical and emotional. It was like he was trapped in a downward spiral, and every attempt to climb back up seemed to knock him down even further. His doctors were in a tricky spot too. They knew they needed to stop prescribing him so many drugs, but at the same time, they didn't want to abandon a patient in need. Of course, some argue that the medical professionals around him should have done more to halt his addiction, but it's a complex issue. Financially, he was still making money, but his lavish lifestyle and poor management meant that he wasn't as well off as one would assume. In the years leading up to his death, he had to perform relentlessly just to maintain his lifestyle and pay the bills. It seemed like he was always on the road or doing back-to-back shows in Las Vegas, which only added to his stress and health issues. Even his voice, one of the most distinctive in the world, started to show signs of wear and tear. Fans who attended his last concerts noted that he struggled to hit the high notes, and his stamina was clearly not what it used to be. It was heartbreaking to see someone who had been such a powerhouse reduced to a shadow of his former self. All of this culminated in his tragic death at the young age of 42, which shocked the world and left millions of fans heartbroken. The official cause was a heart attack, but everyone knew that his years of health problems and drug abuse had caught up with him. His death served as a wake-up call for many, shedding light on the dangers of prescription drug abuse and the need for better mental health care for celebrities. The sad truth is that his legacy was overshadowed by the tragedies of his final years, but that doesn't make his contributions to music and culture any less significant. Even after his death, people continue to visit Graceland in droves to pay tribute to the man who changed the face of American music. There are biographies, documentaries, and even movies that delve into his life, trying to understand the complex individual that he was. His music still lives on, and new generations continue to discover and appreciate his incredible talent. And yet, despite all the fame and adoration, his final years stand as a cautionary tale for all of us. It's a reminder that success and talent don't shield you from life's challenges, and sometimes they can even make things more complicated. One can only hope that his story serves as a lesson for others, helping them avoid the pitfalls that plagued this legendary artist. For those who loved him, the memory of Elvis in his prime will always be how they choose to remember him, rather than the struggles he faced in his later years. But it's crucial to talk about these struggles openly, to show that even icons are human beings who face challenges, just like the rest of us. This also opens up important conversations about the responsibility that comes with fame, both for the celebrities themselves and the people around them. All in all, Elvis's story is one of immense talent and unprecedented fame, but it's also a tragic one that ended much too soon. His impact on music and culture remains unmatched, but his life serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of human health and happiness. So the next time you hear an Elvis song, maybe take a moment to reflect on the man behind the music, with all his complexities and struggles. His life had highs that most of us can only dream of, but it also had lows that serve as a lesson for us all. In the end, Elvis remains an unforgettable figure in history, but his final years show us that even kings are mortal, with challenges that can't be ignored.
What was the cause of Elvis's death? Heart attack. Which album was released just months before his death? Moody Blue. Who was Elvis's fiancée at the time of his death? Ginger Alden. Where did Elvis Presley's final concert take place? Market Square Arena. What was the final song Elvis performed in concert? Can't Help Falling in Love. In which city was Elvis Presley when he passed away? Memphis. Where was Elvis Presley buried? Graceland. What was the last movie Elvis Presley appeared in? Change of Habit. What was the last song Elvis recorded? Way Down. When was Elvis's last television appearance before his death? When was Elvis's last television appearance before his death?